Welcome into the Lexington Catholic White Greer Maggard Holiday Classic Reveal Party. We're going to reveal the bracket here with you here today. William Warfield here with you, and joining me is assistant coach Matt Heisenbuttle and also the head coach of Lexington Catholic, Brandon Salzman. And guys, we're doing this for the second year in a row, doing the reveal party for the bracket. And Coach Salzman, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, last year we did this and thought it was, a nice little piece for our tournament to go ahead and do it again. So I'm excited to, reveal the bracket. The tournament committees come together, and, Lexington Catholic has run a tournament since 1960. So we've been very blessed with some great games. Last year was one of the best tournaments we ever had, and this year we've got another loaded field with exciting teams and exciting players. But we couldn't do it without our sponsors. So let me first make sure I say a big thank you to White Greer and Maggard for all they've done for this program and this tournament. We certainly couldn't do it without them. They are a huge sponsor, and Dr. White does a great job for us in helping us out and getting this thing done. But there's also our presenting sponsors that are just important. Number one, PrepSpin. We couldn't do it without the king over there. He'll be here every game and making sure everybody who can't be here can see games live streamed on PrepSpin for the tournament. So without him, we'd be lost. We need to say thank you to Pepsi Cola. They are a title sponsor as well, or a presenting sponsor as well. Nike, Wildcat Moving has done a great job. A local company here in town that is owned by a graduate, Raleigh Bruner, which we're very excited for them to be on board. And then of course, Will Harris Homes is going to be a presenting sponsor this year, and we'll talk more about Will here in just a little bit. But very excited for the tournament this year and to reveal the brackets. Matt, I know you got to play in this tournament as I did, but it's just another great event.
Yeah, I think I would echo what Brandon had to say as far as being able. First of all, thanking the sponsors and William and all the people that help us run this great tournament. I think Brandon and I have been able to put together another bracket of competitive games, and we have some good teams, some good players, and being a former player in this tournament, I know it's what an opportunity it is for players across the state to be able to come and play in a tournament like this right after Christmas is a great experience for them, and hopefully we will have another great tournament this year.
That's right, guys. Another loaded field this year. Coach, you want to start with one of the games here in the bracket?
Yeah, I think you're going to throw up a big graphic here. We're going to begin with the 4:30 game. All of the games this year, the first round games, are going to be on December the 27th here at Lexington Catholic. All of them will be played in our Buter Gymnasium. We want to make sure everybody got a good chance to be in there with the college court and the facilities that we've been blessed with here at Lexington Catholic. So the first game we're going to talk about is at 4:30. It's going to be Washington County is going to take on Fleming County out of the 16th region. So Buddy Biggs, an old friend of mine, good 10th region guy from back in the day when I was at Bourbon County. He was at Pendleton County. He had that great team with Keaton Belcher and Joey Verax back in those days. He's in his fourth season at Fleming County and bringing one of his better teams into town. And Washington County is in their first appearance here in the tournament this year. Coach Woodson is in his fifth season. They've got a lot of preseason talk with the University of Kentucky, going down to watch them practice with a couple of their players. I know Matt's got more about that. So, Matt, what do you got on their players?
Yeah, I think when you talk about these two teams, these are teams that unless you live in those communities, you don't really know a lot about them. But it's two really good teams. Fleming County didn't lose a player from their team last year. They returned their whole roster. They were picked second in all the preseason stuff in the 16th region. They got a bunch of guys that shoot the ball from three, had a good percentage, led by Seth Hickerson. I think that he's got an offer from Lindsey Wilson, and so Fleming County be competitive out of the 16th. And then you talk about Washington County. Gabe Weiss is one of the great young players in the state. He's got 10 Division I offers. But it's far from a one-man deal. You know, they return their top 6 scorers. They got all seniors playing with him. You know, Bo Baker's a 6'8" guy that averages 15 and 10. He's probably going to graduate with you know, about 1,800 points and 1,500 rebounds. He's signed to play football at South Dakota State, and so you know, Washington County's going to be good too. They won the 5th region All-A last year. I think they're probably one of the more underrated teams in that region, and obviously have a chance to come out of what I think is a wide open 5th region. So that's an intriguing first round matchup with some good players, some good coaches, and should be a fun game to watch.
Washington County coach, I know they're returning a pretty good team. I saw them over in the All-A Classic last year, and they actually defeated another team that's in this field, which was LCA over in that. So we know that that's a pretty strong team too.
Yeah, for sure. They're going to have a great year.
Yeah. That's the Commanders down there in Washington County. So looking forward to that. How about the next game, Coach? We got Lexington Catholic, Taylor County. That's your Knights taking on the Taylor County team.
Yeah, Matt and I, you know, one of the main reasons we get into tournaments like this is because we try and get ourselves ready for tournament time in the 11th region, and the way you do that is by playing great teams. And we've certainly done that with pairing us up against Taylor County. Coach Irvin has built incredible programs both at Marion County and then at his alma mater at Taylor County. It is going to be a really tough game for us, which we're excited to be a part of. We're excited to bring Taylor in. They've got a wonderful facility themselves, and I know Coach Irvin will have them ready to go against us and have an exciting game. And then our guys that are always excited to play in this tournament, you know, they've done a great job. Tyler Doyle signed yesterday with Bellarmine University, which was really important for him, and so we're excited to showcase him and the rest of our guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, then you know, you talk about Taylor County first. You know, they're going to return 4 starters. They're led by a kid named Lyons, who was an all-region, all 5th region selection last year. You know, they got a senior point guard, Jackson Wise, who's a nice player, and I know they got some. You know, some young kids that haven't played before that are going to come out, and you know, maybe have a kid that transferred in or two. So you know, Taylor County's, I know they're playing the King of the Bluegrass before our tournament as well, which also means to me that they like their team. So you know, I fully expect them to come in here and give us a great game. I think they're going to have a good team, and it should be a tough game for us. You know, as far as our guys, we have 9 seniors this year. We're, as always, have high expectations. So you know, Tyler Doyle's, as Coach said, you know, is a Division I point guard, and we got some other guys that have been in our program for a long time, kind of been waiting for their turn. So we had a good summer, good off season. We're excited about our group, and just hope that we can you know, keep getting better as the season goes on, with the goal of having a chance to do something special in March. So this will just be something that'll prepare us for that, and I think, but you know, we're certainly not going to overlook Taylor County. I think Taylor County has a nice team, and we're going to have to play well to beat them.
Coach, question coming in from some of the fans watching out here is you know, how are you going to replace the big guy down low in Reese Potter?
You know, I don't think you ever replace somebody as good as Reese. You know, that's just too difficult to put that on somebody on our team. But I think what you'll see out of us is we're going to play a whole lot faster, and probably back to the style of what you've seen of the Lexington Catholic teams in the past. You know, where we're going to get up and down the floor. We're going to be really exciting to play. And when you've got a guard like Tyler Doyle, you know, and guys who can shoot like Johnny Reinhardt and Sam Smith, and you know, all of the seniors that we have, tough kids like Rome Williams and Miller Williams, we're going to play like, you know, Matt's team and you know, the great teams that we've had in the past. So, well, we'll see. Well, you know, we've got some ways to go, but we got a long season, and this will be a great test for us.
Yeah, and don't doubt you at all, Coach.
Thank you, sir.
All right, moving on. So we got Woodford County, Harrison County. So you got the Yellow Jackets taking on the Thoroughbreds, and that's an interesting matchup right there, Coach.
Yeah, you know, this is going to be the opening game of the tournament, the 10:30 a.m. game. We're really excited for this. This is 2 great coaches. Harrison County, Of course, has Terrence Brooks, who's, you know, a legend in his community alone, but also around the state for the things that he's been able to do playing and coaching basketball in the state of Kentucky. But they are a tradition-rich program at Harrison County. Terrence is in his 4th season there. You know, you've got the great coaches that were there, the Mike Wrightses and the Lee and Larry Kendalls that have all done that, and Terrence has continued that with Harrison County going forward. And I know this is one of the best teams that they've got in a long time down there, and they're very excited about this group. And then you throw them against, you know, Woodford County and a Lexington legend in Jerron Brown, who actually has his own great story from this tournament when he was a senior at Bryan Station, came in and played, or actually he was a junior and played against a kid named Kenny Gregory, who Rick Pitino had offered at Kentucky, and Jerron walked out of there with a scholarship offer from the University of Kentucky because he played so well in that game. Of course, he ended up going to Pitt, but Jerron is not just a great player, he's a great person, and you know, he does a great job with what he's done with Woodford County in his 5th season, and so we're excited to get that game going. I know Matt's got some things about the players that they have.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you talk about Woodford, obviously the first thing everybody wants to know is, well, how are they going to be without Jasper? Because Jasper's not, you know, Jasper decided it was going to be best for him to go to prep school. But you know, they still have some great players. It's Antonio Wade and Leighton Starks, and those guys are experienced guys that have played in the state tournament. You know, they got some young kids that they're going to count on for minutes, that are on the football field and are going to get better as the season goes on. So while they're going to look a little different without Jasper, I wouldn't bet against Jerron and Don and those guys over there on the coaching staff as far as being able to get this team ready to compete at the end of the year. And then you talk about Harrison County, as Coach said, you know, they'll be one of the top 5 teams in the 10th region. They have one of the 5 or 10 best players in the region in Caden Custard. He's a dual sport guy, really athletic, pretty good basketball player, pretty good football player. Kind of does it all for him.
Great football player.
Yeah, he's a great football player and great basketball player as well. Probably one of the more underrated players in both sports in the state. You know, I know they have some size. They'll be athletic. So yeah, this should be a fun matchup. You know, they got the early slot. So you know, we're hoping that both of those communities will come out and watch those teams. But that should be a great early game.
I'm looking for, you know, Micaiah Smith on that Woodford County team. I know he's a rising star for them. He's going to be a junior this year. And then you know, Wertzler, I think Justice, who used to go here to Lexington Catholic, I think that he's kind of fit his spot over there at Woodford County. You know, he's been playing football, and now he's going to be playing basketball too. So I'm excited to see him play again.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so. I mean, they, you know, like I said, they you know, they lost Jasper and John McCreary and those guys off the team that made the quarterfinals of the state tournament. But, you know, I know those guys that coach over real well, and it's just kind of next man up, right? So they'll have somebody, and they'll have their guys ready to play.
All right, so moving right along, we're going to have the next matchup that we'll talk about is Madison Southern and Cooper.
All right, so this is going to be our noon game on December 27th. All the games, of course, are going to be December 27th. This is a matchup of probably 2 of the elder statesmen and coaches around. You've got, you know, probably one of the most popular coaches in the state in Sully, Tim Sullivan, up at Cooper, who's in his 16th season at Cooper and is the all-time winningest coach in Cooper history. He's also the only coach in Cooper history, but that kind of helps in that area. They lost by 2 last year in the regional championship to Newport, who might end up being the #1 team in the state come preseason this year. And he's got most of his squad back, which I know Matt will tell you about. But, you know, Sully does a great job, always has. He's a great coach, and will have his team ready to go. And then Steve Wright has jumped over to Madison Southern and probably has one of the oldest teams in the state of Kentucky. I think all 5 of his guys are going to be 5th-year seniors, you know, and they are extremely talented, and they are very strong. They're one of the favorites in our region and the 11th this year. Steve came over from, I believe, Bath County this year, and he's one of the winningest coaches in the state. I believe he's top 10 with over 700 wins. So, you know, he knows how to win. He's won a state championship at South Laurel, and so I know he'll have those guys ready to go come for this tournament and ready to go throughout the season. So.
Hey, just real quick, I just looked, and they've got Madison Southern 6 seniors. They've got 5 juniors on that team.
Yeah, they're quite old. You know, we played them last year in the first round of the 11th region tournament, and it was a dogfight going all the way. So they'll be ready to go this year for sure.
Yeah, I mean that was going to be what I was going to say about Madison Southern for sure. They got lots of seniors. They got lots of older, experienced guys. You know, they shoot the ball really well. Jay Rose and you know, Zach and Braden Hudson. Those guys are physical scorers. They'll get up under you and guard you, and they you know, the way they play, at times they can be hard to guard. You know, so they're certainly you know, one of the 3 or 4 best teams in our region, just depending upon the night for sure. And then Cooper, you know, the one thing you know about Sully for sure is when he gets in this tournament, he's coming here to win it. And so, you know, they have a really good team. This is a great first round matchup. You know, as Coach said, they were region finalists last year. They got both their starting guards back, and they got a kid named Sean Pouncey back, who was out most of the year last year with an ACL, but kind of started playing at the end of the year. And he's a monster inside. And so, you know, he's got some. In talking to Sully, they got some other athletic kids that are on the football field, and so they're going to be a really good. They're going to be a really good team in the 9th region, and this is going to be a really fun first round matchup. I think you know, I think either one of these teams is going to have to play really well to win this game.
Coach, didn't they win it a few years ago, or come, you know, in the semifinals or something like that?
Oh yeah, they went 2 years in a row with Sean McNeil and I can't remember the other kid's name, but they were solid for good 2-3 years in a row there with 2 guys that were big time college basketball players. And you know, Sully has been known to take teams with lesser talent and be even better. Yeah. So you know, I don't know if the guys he has are Division I, but I can promise you they're going to play like they're Division I when he gets a hold of them.
Yeah, I mean, they came in, if you remember, they lost. I think they lost in the finals that year to that team, that Scott Chalk, the Dunbar team that won the state tournament, beat them in the final, or maybe it was the semifinals. But then they came back the next year and won it. So, you know, when Cooper comes, they're coming to, they're not just coming to visit the mall and go out to eat and stuff, you know. So they're coming to win some games, and so I think they're going to have a really good team, and I think, like I said, this will be one of the better first round matchups of the tournament for sure.
All right, moving right along, Coach. How about Lyon County, Bourbon County?
Yeah, so this will be our prime game at 7:30. You know, with Lyon County. You know, I'm going to let Matt talk more about Travis, but I got to say congratulations to him for being the all-time leading scorer in the state of Kentucky. He's going to make his college announcement on tomorrow, so let's all, I know all of us Kentucky fans have our fingers crossed. He's picking between 5 really great options, and rightfully so on his. But his dad, Ryan Perry, is the coach, and what a joy to coach his own son for the last 5 years. I know it's probably been one of the best times he's ever had in his life, and he's raised a great kid. If you've ever got a chance to talk to Travis, you know what I'm talking about. But they are the 2-time second region champions. They might be number 1 in the state come preseason. They're loaded. They're playing in the City of the Palms tournament in Florida, which is the premier tournament in the nation. And they're gonna. I've told his dad I think that they'll do Kentucky proud down there. So I'm excited to bring them back up here. You know, we don't get many chances to bring Lyon County to the tournament, but bringing a class program with a class coach like him is excellent. And then Bourbon County is where, you know, I actually started my head coaching career, and the last time they were in the tournament was 2004, and I happened to be the coach there. So it was great to bring them back, and Derek Robinson's their coach. He's in his 2nd season, and I believe Derek is the all-time leading scorer in Bourbon County history. He's got that epic picture of himself on the front page of the program, hushing the Rupp Arena crowd when he played for Western Kentucky University. But you know, he's done a great job at his alma mater. I know the people there in Bourbon County are tickled to death to have him as their coach. So Matt's got a little bit more on the players.
Yeah, you talk about Lyon County. Obviously, you start with Travis. A little bit like Reed last year. He's the huge front runner for Mr. Basketball, all-time leading scorer in the history of the state. I would say if you haven't seen this kid play, make time in one of the days of this tournament, if you live in Lexington, to come watch him, because he, if you're a fan of basketball, he just plays the right way. He moves, he cuts, he's a fun kid to watch. What I like about their team is he's a willing passer, and they got some other guys in Brady Shoulders and Jack Reddick and those guys that can absolutely fill it up and score as well. So, as Coach said, they're definitely a top 5 team in the state preseason, maybe higher than that. They're going to be a handful for anybody to beat. And I know they were playing some young kids last year that are going to be a year older, so I expect those kids to be better. But they are it's a fun team to watch. So if you haven't seen them, I would certainly try to make time to come watch them. And then Bourbon County, I know Derek pretty well. I mean, Derek was a great player. This is his second year at Bourbon County. I know they're playing a lot of young kids. This is certainly a tough spot for them. But one thing I do know is that they got some kids who can shoot the ball. Some sophomores that can really score it, and they'll play hard, and they'll come compete. Whether that's good enough to beat Lyon County or not, I don't know. But they'll certainly show up and play their game. And I know Coach Robinson's excited about their depth, and certainly think they have the talent to be one of the 4 or 5 best teams in the 10th region. So I think this is just a stepping stone for them to be ready to go towards the end of the year. But they will give a good account of themselves. I'm sure of that. So,
Coach, it seems like every year we've got somebody that's going to be announcing right before the season starts. They just happen to be always playing in your tournament. Last year it was Reed. We knew he was going to end up going to the University of Kentucky, and that really helped ticket sales too, I thought, here last year with just the amount of people. I think we were turning some people away. Wanted to have to ask, how much are you rooting on Travis to sign with Big Blue Nation?
Well, it's going back to being able to, if you've ever talked to Travis, if you haven't, he's the type of person that he will talk to you on the sideline after the game's over. He's one of the more humble players I've ever run across. He's a lot like Reed. They're of course very different, but
smart kid.
Yeah, I mean, you can't help but cheer for him. Whatever school he picks, I promise you, I will be pulling for Travis Perry.
Yeah.
I'm a huge UK fan, and of course want him to play for that, but you can't. It's hard to cheer against this kid.
Right.
I mean, it's like Reed. In that regard, those guys they're just special, and you hope that when you get somebody as special as that in the state of Kentucky, they can stay and play for our home university. But if he doesn't, you're still crazy if you haven't seen him play to not come cheer for him, because he's a great show. He's just unbelievable. Their whole team is just fun to watch. That game last year between Reed and him in our gym was one of the best high school games I've ever seen. And
very good.
And I know he'll be ready to go for another time.
An interesting fact too is he's a big time. Him and Brady, big time golfers. They're big time golfers for their school.
I'll take Coach Heisenbuttle.
No, you don't want to do that, man.
All right, so let's move along. We got one of your rivals, which is Lexington Christian Academy. They're taking on DeSales. So the Colts and the Eagles in this matchup.
Yeah, so LCA is going to come back over again. They come over every few years, and everybody, that's one of our rivals. But when you have a rival like this, you're supposed to hate the other coach. But I'm telling you, if there's anybody out there that says a bad word about Ted Hall, they've never talked to him. I mean, he's
right.
One of the best guys in the business. He's always trying to make the game better and do things that's right for the kids. You can't help but like Ted, and he's got a great team. In his 5th season, one thing that Ted's been able to do is coach his sons. Tyler and Austin Hall both have been thorns in my side for the last few years, and they're both finally out of there. But Ted has got just another great team, where they actually picked up a really good transfer. So they're going to be loaded. They're going to be one of the best teams in our region. and they're going to go up against DeSales, who, you know, one of the other Catholic school in Louisville. You know, a lot of people talk about Trinity and St. X, but Damian Anderson has done an incredible job getting kids there at DeSales, and they're going to be, I believe they're going to be preseason number 1 in the 6th, and you know, they're definitely going to be a top 10 team in the state of Kentucky. They're one of our big rivals in the 2A tournament. I know Damian was an assistant at St. X for a long time. So I know that they have also a very big-time transfer. I'm sure Matt will brush up on that. But this is going to be another one of those games. It is the 1:30 game. And I know this is another one of those games that people are going to be really excited to see in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, I would echo everything that Coach Salzman said. This, for me, is probably the best game of the first round. Maybe there's one later that's maybe a little better, but you know, DeSales has 9 seniors, kind of like we do. You know, they got some good shooters. They got some good offensive players. You know, they're led by Will Gibson, who's a Liberty commit. You know, he's left-handed kid, kind of plays in the post and can play out on the perimeter. He's tough to guard. And then point guard Damone King transferred to DeSales as well. And you know, those are 2 of the better players in Louisville. So they'll come in here and they'll compete. And I would this will be a fantastic game. And then from LCA standpoint, you know, we obviously know LCA very well. They're going to be much improved. You know, I think their guys are just a year older. When you talk about Saxon Howard and Anderson Green and you know, Dr. Maggard's son Andrew and Braylon Moss and all those guys, Hagen Preston, all those guys are only juniors. So you know, they're going to be a year older, a year stronger. If they can get their football guys off the football field healthy, you know, as Brandon said, they got a transfer or 2 that are really going to help them. They'll be much improved. So this will be an excellent first round game, and I think, you know, LCA has a chance to really do some good things in the 11th region this year. So and I know DeSales has aspirations to be playing at Rupp in March as well. So this has a regional tournament type field game, and so this is a game we're certainly looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, I think that'll be a really good game from a fan standpoint anyway. You know, looking at the matchup there, knowing what LCA's got coming back, and you know, DeSales being pretty ranked top 10. So looking forward to that. Coach, you ready for the next game with Douglas and Calloway?
Yeah, I think this is the game Matt was referencing earlier. This is going to be our closing game, the 9 p.m. game. We're going to bring in Calloway County, which has is actually traveling the farthest distance, but they're going to take on Douglas. You know, Coach Wes Scarberry at Douglas is in his 2nd season over there. He's at Richmond Model for many years prior to that, but he was Coach of the Year last year, 33-3. They're returning just about everybody. You know, and they're going to be very, very difficult to handle. They also added a transfer, which was really good, one of the better young players in the city of Lexington. You know, and they're going to be probably top 5 or 6 in the state as well. When you throw them up against Calloway County, Coach Brad Cleaver, who's in his 8th season, this is a team that not a lot of people are going to know about, but you better figure them out real quick, because when they show up, they're ready to play. They've got some great players. We played against them in the 2A tournament and just been blown away. They've started their lineup since they were freshmen, and they are now juniors, and they are tough to handle. They're very good. They're coached very well. This will be their first trip in a long time. I know Coach Cleaver took over for a good friend of mine, Terry Birdsong, and he's just done a great job in developing the Calloway program into a winner. And I know Matt can tell you a little bit about some of the guys that are on their team.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Calloway first. You know, they're coming a long way, and similar to, you know, a lot of these other teams out in the state, these guys aren't just coming here for a trip to Lexington. You know, they can do that all the time. So, Coach Cleaver knows he has a good group. He's got some guys that love basketball. When you talk about Jonah Butler and Eli Finley and those guys, they're big time players. And you know, as Coach Salzman said, they're they're guys that not a lot of people in Lexington have seen, but for my money, they're one of the more underrated teams in the state. They play the right way. They play hard. So that they'll mix in some football guys, I think, when they get football season over. If it's not already over, I don't. But they're coming here to win some games. They got a tough first round matchup here, but if I know Coach Cleaver is and his guys will relish that, and so and then of course you talk about Douglas. You got to have them as the favorite in the 11th region with what they brought back and what they did last year. Talking about Mello Boone and Avion and Logan Busen and all those guys. And then, you throw in DeMarcus Surratt from Lafayette is over there now. They got a lot of talent. It's really funny because all those kids are juniors and sophomores, and then all the kids on Calloway are juniors. So it's kind of a battle of juniors, but this should be. I think this is the best game of the day. It's the last game of the day, so it'll be a late tip, but this is the one I'm looking forward to watching. I think it'll be up and down, just knowing how both of these teams play, and it'll be a really fun game to watch for sure.
I was going to say, Coach, you mentioned seeing them over in that 2A Classic. They were one of those teams that really stood out to me whenever we went over there to broadcast that in Owensboro, and I was like, man, where did this team come from? Because you never hear about teams from that part of the state when you're up here unless they're really, really good. Just how it happens, Calloway happens to be really, really good, and I'm excited to see them here in Lexington.
Yeah, that's the one of the best things about this tournament is you're bringing in teams that a lot of times a lot of people don't get to see. And, 2 years ago, I had no idea who Travis Perry was, and I found out real quick when he got here who he was. Callaway doesn't have Travis Perry, but Eli Finney is a great player, and he has busted us for a lot of points in the 2A tournament. And I think when you see them, they're fun to watch. They shoot the three. They play fast. I think the people in Lexington are going to love their style and what they do, and how much fun they are. And these guys are, playing against somebody like Douglas. Matt's Point's great. This is probably a matchup of two of the top 5 teams in the state next year for sure, if not this year as well.
I mean, we were all in Owensboro, and I think we can all be honest. We were pretty lucky to win that game last year against Calloway County.
For sure.
Not sure we deserved to win that game. So they're a great team. And they travel well, and this will be an important event for them. And so they will, as I say with a lot of these other teams, they will. I'm sure they will give a good account of themselves. And that game against Douglas at the end of the day will be a must-see game that first day for sure.
Yeah, I think one, maybe two of those players in that game might hit 40 points.
Yeah.
Just saying, because those guys can shoot it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of slowdown in that game.
No, it's
you don't need a shot
fast-paced
clock for that game.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so the last game on our opening round here is North Laurel and Larue County.
Right, so this is going to be the 4:30 game, and it's just great to get North Laurel back in the event. I think that speaks volumes for what Nate Valentine is as a coach and what he's about. You lose a player like Reed Shepard, and most coaches would probably run and hide, and he came right back and called me and said, I want in, and without a doubt, we took him. Because let me tell you the first thing about them. The second you think that they're going to fall off the map, you don't know who Nate Valentine is.
Right.
So, I've had to coach against Nate when he was at LCA, and then of course now at North Laurel he's in, I believe, his 5th season as well. He's going to have great players, and they're going to run his stuff, and they're going to be really good at it. I know Matt will tell you more about that, but anybody who thinks that they're going to fall off the map because they lose a player like Reed, they may not have Reed, but they're going to have a really good program. I can promise you that going forward. And they're going to play up against Larue County. Larue County is coached by Paul Childress, who's in his 18th season, so he's kind of a veteran like I am. Been there a long time. He's had really good teams over the years. I know this year he's in a little bit of a rebuild mode, but one of our former players, Will Harris, and one of our sponsors' son is going to play for him, Michael. So we're excited to bring Will back. Will was part of Matt's team in 2000 that went all the way to the state finals and lost in a heartbreaking game. But we're excited to bring Will back and bring his son so that he can showcase him, and the people of Larue County can get up here and play in a great game.
I appreciate you reminding me about that.
You know, I was there too.
No, this is a good game. You know, and Brandon's right about North Laurel. Let's talk about them first. You know, you think you lose Reed Shepard, but North Laurel's going to be a contender in the 13th region again. You know, they're led by Brody Brock, a left-handed kid who played a lot with Reed, has played a lot of minutes over the last few years. He'll probably have to carry a little more of the scoring load this year, and they're going to pair him with a lot of young kids, led by Reese Davidson, Ryan Davidson's. I can't remember if it's his brother or cousin, but
It's his
brother. Reese is. I saw Reese's son. Reese is going to explode. I don't know if it'll be this year or next summer or whatever, but he's a really talented kid. He is really gotten a lot better. I saw him this summer, and he was great against us when we played him. But not just Reese; they got a lot of young kids that are really good. You know, I think they have some freshmen that are pretty good. So, you know, we'll see. I certainly wouldn't count them out of the contenders category of the 13th region, and certainly I won't be surprised at all if they end up getting back to Rupp Arena again. And then you talk about Larue County, Coach Childers. I know him a little bit. I spent some time down there watching his team work out and stuff. And you know, they're led by a kid named Daniel Allen, that was a fifth region player last year. They got another kid back that was a starter, so they got 2 starters back. But 13 of his 14 kids on the varsity roster are freshmen and sophomores. So, but he has high expectations for those kids as well. I mean, I think those kids, as Coach said, you know, Michael Harris and some of those kids are pretty nice players, and so in a wide open 5th region, I think he's hoping that he can get some senior leadership from Allen and kind of guide those young kids. And you know, if they can figure out how to play defense and guard and you know, get some baskets when they need it, and get some contributions from some other kids, I think you know they have as good a chance as anybody to win the 5th region. So again, this should be another good matchup. Lots of young kids will be on the floor. If you're interested in watching some kids that will be good down the road and some future stars in this state, this would be a good game for you to watch.
Well, there you have it. Coach Heisenbottle and Coach Salzman here with me here in the PrepSpin Whitaker Bank Mobile Broadcast Studio, revealing the White Greer Maggard Holiday Classic Tournament opening round here. And again, to recap that, we'll put up the graphic here, Coach. And you got Washington County taking on Fleming County, Lexington Catholic taking on Taylor County, Woodford County taking on Harrison County, Madison Southern will take on Cooper, Lyon County will battle Bourbon County, and then you got LCA taking on DeSales, Douglas taking on Calloway, and then North Laurel taking on Larue County. Guys, what a opening round there you have.
Yeah, it's going to be a great tournament. You know, last year the state champion played in this tournament, and I think this year you might see that as well. So, you know, we're excited to have everybody and thankful for all of them coming in, and looking forward to a great event. And thank you to you, William, especially. And like we said, if you can't get here, you can tune in on PrepSpin, which will be streaming all of the games live. So we're excited for that again. And so everybody who can't get to the games, you can always see them on TV.
All right, and that will be behind a paywall, so we'll have it on PrepSpin pay-per-view like we did last year. I thought it went over really well, and looking forward to broadcasting all those games. Go.prepspin.com is where you can watch it if you can't make it. Highly suggest you guys get here at Lexington Catholic because of the talented rosters that these teams have, but just the schools, you know, the history of all the schools here, and you know, being here at Lexington Catholic, which is, in my opinion, you know, when you talk about basketball here in Lexington, Lexington Catholic's always top, you know, of that conversation. So Guys, any closing remarks?
Just excited for it to get started. We're in preseason practice, and we're itching to get going with the season. Good luck to everybody out there on their start of their seasons, and we'll see everybody in December.
All right, Coach Heisenbuttle, any closing remarks from you?
No, I'm good. Thanks, William.
All right. Again, you guys can come here and check out the White Greer and Maggard Holiday Classic. It's happening right here in December. Coach, did we give out the dates of that?
December 27th through the 30th.
27th through the 30th, right here at Lexington Catholic High School. Get your tickets now. We'll see you guys here at Lexington Catholic on those dates.